This is the homework for page 1, or the video for page 174, 41 to 73 odd. The homework was 42 to 74 even. Alright, write an equation of a line. So remember, they have to give you a slope and a point. So they told us that our slope is 0, so m is 0, and we're through the point -2, -4. So I'm going to label x1, y1. We're going to plug in 2-point slope. Y equals y1, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's plug in. Y minus y1 is -4 is equal to m, which is 0, times x minus x1, which is -2. Add a line, change a sign. Add a line, change a sign. You get y plus 4 is equal to 0 times x plus 2. Well, 0 times anything is 0, so we get y plus 4 is equal to 0. Subtract 4 from both sides. You get y equals -4. And that is your equation of a line. Alright, here, vertical line. Think about slope man's nose with that U underneath it. Vertical line means we have an undefined slope. So if you were to graph this, plot this point for me, 4, 7 is at this point right here, and you could draw a vertical line through it. And tell me, what is this line? What is the formula for, or the equation for it? Just x equals 4. And another way to think about it is just look at the x value of the ordered pair, and then you know it's x equals, because it's a vertical line, so x equals 4. You can do the same thing here for a horizontal line. Or you can do it, well, I'll show you one of two ways to do it. You can either look at the y value, and you know a horizontal line has a y equals, so you could say y equals 5. Or you could graph it. Okay, so you know the points right here. So it's a horizontal line, and you know that's y equals 5. Or you could say horizontal line, that's slope guy's mouth, right, with the zeros on each side of it. So you know it has a slope of 0, and you could say x1, y1, and plug in this point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 5 is equal to 0 times x minus 0. Y minus 5 is equal to 0, because 0 times anything is 0. Add 5 to both sides, and you get y equals 5. Either way, you're getting the same answer. Okay, find an equation of each line. Write the equation using function notation. So remember, function notation of f of x is equal to mx plus b. Okay, same as slope-intercept, but instead of y, it's f of x. Alright, so number 47 says through the point, it's supposed to be 3, 8, like that, and parallel to f of x equals 4x minus 2. So what do we know about parallel lines? They have the same slope. So this is just their way of giving me the slope. The slope of this line is 4, and a parallel slope would have the same slope. So they gave me a point and a slope. So label x1, y1, and plug in. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 8 equals 4 times x minus 3. Distribute your 4. Y minus 8 is equal to 4x minus 12. Okay. Add 8 to both sides. Y equals 4x minus 4. And we want it in function notation, so change y to f of x is equal to 4x minus 4. Okay. Okay, here they want through the point 2, -5 perpendicular to 3y equals x minus 6. Well, I know perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, but I need to figure out the slope of this line, so I need to put it in slope-intercept form. So I need to divide every piece by 3. So that ends up giving me y equals 1/3 x minus 2. So the slope of this line is 1/3. So I need an opposite reciprocal of 1/3. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to change the sign. So my slope for my new line is -3. That's the slope I'm going to use. So ignore all of this. Okay? And then the point they gave me is this. So I'm going to plug into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Alright, so I have y minus -5 is equal to -3 times x minus 2. So I got my y1 from -5 here, my y1, my m times -3 here, and then my x1 times from 2 here. So add a line, change the sign, and distribute your -3. So you get y plus 5 is equal to -3x plus 6. It's a plus because it's -3 times -2. And then you're going to subtract 5 from both sides, giving you y equals -3x plus 1. And then you're just going to change y to f of x. Okay? So it's f of x is equal to -3x plus 1. Alright? Same thing here. We can go ahead and label x1, y1. However, parallel to this line, so I need to figure out what the slope is. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract 3x from both sides. That gives me 2y is equal to -3x plus 5. And then divide everything by 2, giving me y is equal to -3/2 x plus 5/2. Okay, so parallel to this line, so here's our slope. So the slope we're going to use is m equals -3/2. And they gave us this point here. So we're going to plug into y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So we have y minus -3 is equal to -3/2 times x minus -2. Add a line, change the sign. Add a line, change the sign. Y plus 3 is equal to -3/2 x plus 2. Go ahead and distribute the -3/2. So we get y plus 3 is equal to -3/2 x minus 3, because your 2's cancel. So then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, giving me y is equal to -3/2 x minus 6. And then I'm going to change my y to f of x, giving me f of x is equal to -3/2 x minus 6. Okay, find the equation of each line, write the equation in standard form, unless indicated otherwise. Okay, here we go. So they give us a slope of 2. So we're going to write m equals 2 through the point -2, 3. So we have x1, y1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 3 equals 2 times x minus -2. And this is number 53. So they want it in standard form. Add a line, change the sign. So we have y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x plus 2. Distribute the 2. Y minus 3 is equal to 2x plus 4. Now standard form says that you want your x and y together on one side. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides here, giving me y is equal to 2x plus 7. But remember, there's a couple rules about standard form. Your a cannot be negative, and it cannot be a fraction. So let me back up really quick at what I just did. I should not have added 3 or subtracted 3 from both sides. Here's why. Okay. Now, if I were to move this 2 over to this side, I would have to subtract 2x from both sides, right? And that's going to give me a negative x value, which is going to give me a negative a, and you can't have a negative. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides, which is going to give me negative 3 is equal to 2x minus y plus 4. Then I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Let me explain why. That's going to give me negative 7 is equal to 2x minus y, which is standard form. You can flip it around, which says 2x minus y is equal to negative 7, which is in standard form. If I had done it the other way, I would have ended up with negative 2x, which means that your a value right here would have been negative. Your a value cannot be negative, and it cannot be a fraction. So be careful. You want to go ahead and try to keep your coefficient with your x positive, and that's why I did it that way. Okay, here notice this time they want it in function notation, and notice they gave us 2 points. And in order to write an equation of a line, we need a slope and a point. So we're going to have to use our formula for slope to get the slope, which is y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1. So I went ahead and labeled, so I'm going to do 2 minus 6 over 5 minus 1, which gives me negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. So I have a slope of negative 1. Then I need to pick a point. They're both positive. Neither of them have 0, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to pick 1, 6. And I'm going to plug into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, point slope form. So y minus 6 equals negative 1 times x minus 1. So distribute your negative 1. You get y minus 6 equals negative x plus 1. Add 6 to both sides. You get y equals negative x plus 7. Change your y to f of x. You get f of x equals negative x plus 7. Okay, now 57, they want it in standard form. So we have the slope and the y-intercept. If they give you the slope and the y-intercept, it is the easiest thing to plug into slope-intercept form. So we're going to plug into y equals mx plus b. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 11. And they want it in standard form. So what I'm going to have to do is get all my x's and y's on one side. So I'm going to add 1/2 x to both sides because I need my coefficient with x, my a, to be positive. So that gives me 1/2 x plus y equals 11. But I am not allowed to have a fraction for a. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply the entire thing by 2. So that gives me a 2 at each place. This 2 cancels this 2, leaving me x plus 2y is equal to 22, because that 2 gets distributed to everything. Alright, here we go again. They gave me 2 points. So I'm going to have to do the formula for slope to find out what my slope is before I can write the equation of a line. So y2 is negative 6 minus y1 is negative 4. x2 is 0 minus x1 is negative 7. Add a line, change a sign. Add a line, change a sign. So we have negative 2 over 7 is our slope. And I'm going to choose the point 0, negative 6. Always choose a point that has a 0 in it if you can. And I'm going to label it x1, y1. So I have y1, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus negative 6 is equal to negative 2/7 times x minus 0. So add a line, change a sign. Y plus 6 is equal to negative 2/7 x. And they want this in standard form. So I am going to actually subtract 6 from both sides, giving me y equals negative 2. Okay, on this one they told you that the slope is negative 4/3, and you have through the point negative 5, 0, so you have x1, y1. Ignore this right here. So you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So you have y minus 0 equals negative 4/3 x minus negative 5. Add a line, change the sign. Y equals negative 4/3 x minus 20/3. Because when you multiply negative 4/3 times 5/1, remember when you multiply it straight across, you get negative 20/3. Okay, now, in order to get rid of these fractions, because remember, the coefficient with x, which is a, cannot be negative and it cannot be a fraction. So I'm going to multiply everything times 3. So you get 3y, if I distribute here, and then the 3 here, and the 3 here. So this 3 and this 3 cancel, and this 3 and this 3 cancel. Equals negative 4x minus 20. And then one more step, my coefficient with x cannot be negative, so I'm just going to add 4x to both sides, because I want my x and my y together anyway. So 4x plus 3y equals negative 20. That's in standard notation, or standard form, so I'm good. Okay, a vertical line through the point negative 2, negative 10. Remember, a vertical line is slope guy's nose with an undefined slope. So you can do one of two ways. You know a vertical line has a formula x equals c. So you can just look at the x value and do x equals negative 2. And that's your equation. Or you can plot the point negative 2 negative 10, which is right here, and then draw a vertical line through it, and then say, what is that graph? Well, it's x equals negative 2, and that's your equation of a line. Okay? So here we go again with perpendicular and parallel. So parallel through this line, we know x1, y1. Parallel lines have the same slope. So I need a slope that's the same as this. In order to figure out the slope, I have to put it in slope-intercept. So I need to isolate y. So you have 4y equals negative 2x plus 9. Divide everything by 4, and always put it in its simplest form. Y equals, this can be reduced to negative 1/2 plus 9/4. All I care about is the slope. The slope is negative 1/2. Since it's parallel lines, I'm going to use the same slope. So the slope they gave me is negative 1/2, and it's this point up here. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus negative 2 equals negative 1/2 x minus 6. Add a line, change the sign. Y plus 2 is equal to, distribute, negative 1/2 x plus, because it's a negative times a negative, 6/2, which is just 3, right? So you have y plus 2 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 3. And they want it in standard form. So we need all of our x's on one side, all of our x's and y's on the other, on one side, and then the constants on the other. Well, I need my coefficient with my x to be positive, so I'm going to move this over to the left. So I have 1/2 x plus y plus 2 equals 3. I need to move my constant over here. So I have 1/2 x plus y is equal to 1. And you can't have a fraction as your coefficient with x. So I need to multiply everything by 2. And every piece gets it. So 2 here and 2 here. These 2's cancel, giving me x plus 2y equals 2. And that's my standard form. Okay? Slope of 0. So what has a slope of 0? A horizontal line, right? And a horizontal line is just y equals c. And if you're writing y equals c, then you just look at the y value. So it's just y equals 12. Okay? Or you could have said, I know a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. So I'm going to plot the point, -9. Okay? 12. Okay, which is like right here. Okay, I'm going to draw a horizontal line through it. And what is that graph? Yeah, it's y equals 12. Okay, either way, that works. Okay, through the point 6, 1, parallel, which means I'm going to use the same slope as this line. But the first thing I need to do is put it in slope-intercept, so I can figure out what the slope is. So I have negative y is equal to negative 8x plus 9. Divide everything by negative 1. Y equals 8x minus 9. So the slope of this line is 8. So the slope I'm going to use is 8. And I'm going to use this point here that they gave me. So y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Y minus 1 is equal to 8 times x minus 6. Y minus 1 is equal to 8x minus 48 when you distribute the 8. And now I need to subtract y from both sides, because my 8's actually positive in this case. So I have negative 1 equals 8x minus y minus 48. Add 48 to both sides. Because remember, your a, which is your coefficient with x, has to be positive. So I'm leaving it positive. So this is 47 is equal to 8x minus y. So if you want to flip it around, you can say 8x minus y equals 47. Alright, through the point 5, negative 6, so x1, y1, perpendicular to y equals 9. Okay, so y equals 9 is a horizontal line, right? Perpendicular to a horizontal line would be a vertical line, yes? So this is horizontal. So perpendicular to a horizontal line is a vertical line. So they want a vertical line. A vertical line, the slope is undefined. So I know that my line is going to be x equals something. So I need to look at the x value here, and it's just x equals 5. Or you could have drawn a graph. You could have plotted the point 5, negative 6. And you could have drawn a vertical line through it and said, what is that line? And it is x equals 5. Okay, and then 73. Through these 2 points, so x1, y1, x2, y2, and they want us to use function notation this time. So we're going to use our formula to find the slope. So negative 5 minus negative 8 over negative 6 minus 2. Add a line, change the sign. You get 3 over negative 8, which we know I like to put the negative in the numerator. So our slope is negative 3/8. You're going to choose either point. I'm going to choose 2, negative 8, because the other one has 2 negatives. So label it x1, y1. So you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus negative 8 is equal to negative 3/8 times x minus 2. Add a line, change the sign. So we have y plus 8 equals, let's go ahead and distribute. negative 3/8 x plus, because it's a negative times a negative, 6/8, because 3 times 2. Alright, they want this in function notation. So I need to subtract 8 from both sides. So I've got y equals negative 3/8 x. And I've got to do 6/8 minus 8. So first let's reduce 6/8 to 3/4 minus 8. So I need to find a common denominator. So it's going to be 4, because it's 8/1. So remember, 4 into 4, 1 times 3 is 3. 1 goes into 4 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. So 3 minus 32 is negative 29 over 4. And then we're just going to change y to f of x. So we have negative 3/8 x minus 29 over 4. Okay, that was a serious homework. So good job, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.